Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm sitting down with Anastasia and Alphonse again to talk about the brand new Grande Pro Volume 2.
Right.
Okay, so we're getting a lot of questions about the whole configuration, the formulas, because this is different than all of your other 12-pan shimmer palettes, correct?
Yes.
So could you explain a little about it and how you guys have it laid out and
Sure.
all the good stuff?
Absolutely. Shall I?
Yes, you should.
All right, perfect. So what's different than the Grande Pro one is that those colors were created with a tonal undertone, all matte, and the shades work from the left to the right side. What we did this time was we created a textured pigment palette. And with that being said, there are 6 new formulas, and each new formula is going to give you a different payoff, as well as a different reflectivity, a different play of color with the light and the prisms. The very first column here is what we call the crystalline highlight. And the crystalline highlight is more of a sheer formula. And we did that so therefore when light could travel through the product, making those little prisms just kind of dance on the eye, which are really pretty. That can be used as the inner contour, it can be used under the brow, the cheekbone, anywhere you really want, well, a little bit of a highlight. The next column here is what we call the prismatic metallics. It's our beautiful classic metallic formulas that are more of a sheer to, medium to full coverage. I'm trying to keep these all straight. So this is more of a medium to full coverage. And this one here, we layered in various sizes of different size crystals. And once again, it's going to give that metallic formula a whole new dimension and play with light. The third column here you have are what we call the chromatic foils, and these are beautiful. They really look like a liquid foil or a liquid metal. But they go on in a traditional classic dry formulation. And yes, all of these shades and formulas can be used wet or dry, and we'll talk about that in a little bit too, because that's how you can really amplify. And this is column 4. This is our Luxe Metallic. If you think about your favorite Viseart metallic shades, these have been amped up with the amount of pigment to give you that really rich payoff, which is beautiful.
Minx is my favorite.
It's like minx on steroids,
yes.
Which is amazing.
Right.
So then if we think about the Celestial duochromes, these are really fun. These were really hard for us to make.
Oh, yes.
Duochromes is a prism that is usually coated with 2 different colors. So when you look at it one way, think of maybe like a butterfly's wing. It looks one color one way, one color the other. But when working with these in your base shadows, we found that it was better to make the shadow formula a little bit more sheer. And by going sheer, more light could travel through, and then you would really get to see that play of color, what we call the movement of color. Now, of course, you can also amp up the formula by using a medium transformer, but just on their own, they're really beautiful, and they're designed to be a little bit more delicate and a little more playful, right?
I think it's important to explain too that these 2 shades, which are very challenging for us to create, I think we went through 20 renditions before we got it right. So, and to be able to have a medium like this to actually foil it on top of what we did was just
Makes it fun.
outstanding.
Yeah.
Let's see, where it brings us to the last column, which is really unique for Viseart. It's the first time we've done a wet-dry glitter topper. Now, everyone knows there's glitters out there and various brands, and what we love about glitter is so much fun. But what's really hard about glitter is that glitter is heavy, and glitter is going to fall
Because there's a thing called
gravity. Exactly. So in order to be able to create a product like this, we did it in a sheer base, and then you have the glitter that's basically woven throughout the product, and this formula in particular must be used with a medium transformer.
Okay.
And there are various ones on the market.
Yeah.
And that's just like you were saying, sometimes you use glitter glue.
Yeah, I have to, because of my hooded eyes. Otherwise, like everything travels on me.
Right.
So makeup artists for eons have been using different types of mediums transformers to make a heavy ingredient like a glitter basically adhere to the eye and to keep it in place. You know, and I see on Instagram and YouTube, it's like, oh, it's falling down. Well, unless if you use something like false lashes, you must use adhesive. So this is a lot of fun, but if you use them dry, then you'll have a little fallout, maybe almost like fairy dust.
Yeah.
And some people like that look. And some people that want it really clean, just make sure you're using some type of medium transformer.
Yeah, or just do your eyes first. That's like any metallic formula I love, they all have fallout.
Right.
All
of them, because if I want that rich kind of wet look, so I'm like, I just know, do my eyes first and my base after.
That is the secret.
It's way easier than
good
I've messed up my concealer and now I'm really mad.
And then you're upset.
Yes.
Just like what a smoky eye.
Yes.
Do the smoky eye.
Do it first.
Yep.
Do it first.
Right.
All right, good.
Exactly.
So now what I wanted to ask you too is, so I was playing with these yesterday. It's the first time I got my hands in them. And what I was liking too though is that I can take even this kind of like highlight shade and use them almost to transform the other shades too. Like I can layer them. So I was thinking like even with that blue color and the purple, remember I was putting it on my hand, I'm like, oh, I can do like a little halo eye, because all of these complement the other colors in those rows too.
The formulas were, we laid this out very differently than what people are accustomed to, because we're actually working in columns. And by columns, because each column is a different formula.
Yeah.
And we have the different bases, meaning some are sheer, some are medium coverage, some give you full impact or full coverage. And the column that it's next to, the two are actually, think about it like an eyeshadow duo.
Yeah.
These first two colors work beautifully together.
Yeah.
As if you did a little bit in the corner and a little bit to the center of the lid. And it gives you a beautiful play of color and allows you to see that movement of color. And we'd like to say that the first two columns are probably the most classic and elegant with a modern twist. Whereas these two here, your chrome and your luxe metallics, these give you more impact. So for someone who likes a little bit more of a galactic shine, aka you, or someone just likes full impact, full color, that these two together work beautifully together. And these I think of more as like sci-fi.
Yeah.
Very futuristic. It's almost like celestial, where you can watch a comet, travel through the sky. That really has a lot to do with how we actually created the colors. And remember in the lab, I kept saying one should put basically flow into the other beautifully.
Well, you know what? When you even told me about the duos like that, it made everything make sense. Because when I look at this gives my my weird mind like, oh, this has order. And when I first looked at this, I was like, I don't get it.
Right.
But then again, I'm like, who needs a whole row of blues in different tones? So I think that's what some people were thinking.
This took us a couple years to make. First, we started with Transcendent, which was supposed to be a 12-pan palette. And we just couldn't get where we needed to be with the pigments we had. And so we had to do a lot of research to find what we wanted. Pigments are very expensive, and we didn't want price to be so much of a problem for us. We just wanted the payoff.
Yeah.
So when you start with an idea 2 years before, and then you're trying to arrive in a new place, we're inspired by art. We spent a lot of time looking at different things and wondering how can we make this work and be different and compact for the artist, because you can buy glitter in little jars any day of the week and glue them to your face. Yeah. But how do you make it so that an artist can take this and maybe a few other items and travel quickly? Bridal artists, anybody in the film industry.
Well, what I like about this too is these are very wearable colors, because sometimes I always find myself, I'd be drawn to these like neon purples, and I'm like, I have a drawer full of those that I don't hardly ever wear. So sometimes people want like, I want an all purple palette or an all blue, but I'm like, how they sit in your drawer, right? You don't use them. So these are all very wearable, and you can go from intense to a neutral, even if you wanted to pair them with the mattes and then just do a little like halo eye again or a spotlight eye with the shimmer in the middle. You can still do that. So I think both of these, I mean, I can't really imagine anything else that you guys need.
Right. Well, when we think about like the Pro series, this was the Pro palette series. And so of course last year we created that one, this year we came out with this one. So when we were thinking about, when we first came out with the Grande Pro 1, full palette of mattes, and then we came out with Grande Pro 2, we were thinking, what is it that a makeup artist needs to do their job every single day? And not that we're not thinking about the everyday person, the lover of makeup, of course, but we also understand that maybe not every person needs a palette of 30 shimmers. Yeah. And Anastasia and I were talking, I mean, when we're creating this for our Pro series, the Pro makeup artists, usually the ones that are working on set, on film, backstage, they're creating the trends. They're not following the trend, they're creating the trend. So therefore, they're often, finding themselves in hobby shops buying crystals and Swarovski crystals we're seeing all over backstage and little things of glitter, and they're buying glue and medium transformers and trying to find a way to create this dimension, this luminosity. And so what our goal was to create beautifully crafted, hand-pressed powder shadows, traditional powder shadows, or should I say powder mediums, because they've been amped up with pigments and amped up with with all these prisms, and we were actually playing around with some of these over, I think it's column 4 and 5.
Yep.
There's some prisms there that we worked with that are upwards of, I think it was $10,000 a pound.
Oh, yeah.
And we got so nervous, I was like, ooh, can we do that on
it was a scary day.
I mean, you hear $10,000 a pound, I'm like, how many shadows do we get on that?
Exactly.
You know?
That was
a
the first.
lifetime supply, hopefully.
It was a little crazy.
Yeah.
But we really wanted to push it beyond the traditional boundaries. So the pro makeup artist, as well as the lover of makeup, really has something really fun to play with.
You know, and that actually leads me into something. I got a comment on my Instagram, and just to clarify too, some people get really up in arms about it. Like, I'm not a professional makeup artist, so people that doesn't mean I'm bad at doing my makeup. It just means I'm not getting paid to apply it to other people. That's not my job.
Right.
So some people get so offended by that word, like, oh, it's meant for the pros. It's like, well, the pro market is what's driving the business, what they're asking for, because they're working on multiple skin tones, multiple people, they have different needs all the time. So just to clarify that, when some people get so upset about that and think like, oh, well, just for lowly old me, like I'm insulted. I'm like, we never mean it like that. It's never an insult. Yeah, I told that person, I'm not a race car driver, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a doctor. I don't get offended by that. I'm like, it doesn't mean that you're not good at doing makeup. It just means this is driven, this whole brand is driven by the pro market. And then you make the retail palettes.
I think it's challenging for people to understand, because they're just seeing, you know, like maybe Trist or Golden Hour or Minx or Petite Pro everywhere on the internet right now. So they don't understand. They just think it's just a neat brand that's come out, whatever. But actually, our heritage and roots are pro, similar to MAC, NARS, Inglot. You begin with pro, and then we want to take the best of the best for the makeup lovers to make sure that they can have what they need too in smaller, compact size, so that they aren't left out. Because, you know, when we're at Selfridges or at Sephora and they see something like this, they're like, I don't need all of that. I just need to put some makeup on and go to work.
I mean, there are people that do want that,
but there's people who do. So when you're trying to please everyone, it's difficult, but we are trying to give a little bit to everybody. Yeah. So,
and there's something, you guys make something at like every price point.
Yeah, we're trying
the theories, the petite pros, you have your everything now. And so again, these are for like a collector like me that I have to have them all. I collect them all. Have to have them all. Well, and there are people, there are retail people that'll have that, and there'll be other people that think, oh my God, that's way too much eyeshadow. And that's okay.
And that's okay. And that's okay.
Yeah,
you can still enjoy other items that we offer, and we have newer things coming out. The formulas are always the same base formula. Nothing changes just because.
These are super though.
Yeah.
They're super.
These are supercharged.
Because not to get that, the 12 pan shimmer palettes were never my thing. But the Theory ones, I was really starting to like that new formula because it was more intense. But these are much more intense. These don't remind me, besides this first row that's a little bit like the bridal satin, none of these remind me of anything else that you guys have, besides maybe Minx.
And Siren.
Yeah.
Siren.
Well, I think because this one, and this is something else when we talked about the pro, what makes this different is these are amped up with a higher level of pigment content. That's why we call them pigment palettes. Whereas in the other beautiful palettes, like the Theory and the consumer palettes, those are a little bit more traditional in the amount of pigments that are used. Hence, it's called an eyeshadow. These are pigment palettes. Use them wherever you want.
So now, can you explain to me about the mixing
medium?
Yeah, because I was thinking the same thing. At first, I was thinking, can I just like drop this right in the eyeshadow pan? And I'm like, that'll probably make hard pan, and it'll probably ruin the shadow.
Yes,
so
it would.
Probably not a good idea. But how would you use that? Shadows?
So whenever working with any mixing medium, whether it's the ESUM mixing medium, there are several out there in the market. And what you want to do is you just take a small amount, and we'll do a little demo shortly. And you just lightly dampen the tip of your brush. Just lightly dampen it. Shouldn't be saturated. You're not creating soup.
Less is more.
Less is more.
Always.
And you literally just glide right over the palette and apply it. Like when I did it on your eye, my brush was lightly damp, and you just swipe right over it. If you do use too much of any type of mixing medium, naturally, it's going to get hard. So do not put the product directly here, just lightly dampen on the brush. That's why it has an eyedropper, so you can control it better and keep it sanitary, opposed to dipping your brush in.
So what about, because I was even watching, we put it on our hand and then added that on top without even going in with the brush. So you can do that as well, right?
What's beautiful, we were doing some testing and we took the classic black from the Neutral Match, which is really, intense black. And I put it in the back of my hand with just a traditional little eyeliner brush. And then I did 2 rows. And then we took the mixing medium and we just painted right on top of it, like to seal it.
It's like a top coat.
Like a top coat.
Yeah.
And literally to get them, one came off a lot easier with rubbing, the other was really hard where even underwater I had to use soap basically to break it down. So if you think of it, that's a great example, it's a top coat. So you can use it to mix, to lightly apply your makeup, to really amplify, set, and seal your makeup.
Which is also great for bridal.
Yeah. Bridal, it's great for bridal. It's great for someone who has maybe a little bit of a heavy lid and they find their eyeshadow or their eyeliner transfers. It doesn't really matter what makeup you're using. It's like a top coat almost for your eye makeup. Yeah. We found that we can actually put it in an airbrush and you can airbrush over your foundation, anywhere, just to give you another set. We've been testing it over the lips. It's an alcohol-based medium. It's not drying, but it is a pro product that is going to seal.
So how would they take it off? Like an oil base?
Just makeup remover. Okay. We were just using the Embryolisse makeup remover, saturated that, even the Alcon wipes that we use, and you just hold it for a second and wipe right off.
Oh, perfect.
It's not like some of the crystal glues.
Yeah.
It's not that.
Yeah, because those can be, I remember I've glued my eyelids open when I was playing with some Halloween makeup, so
we made this very consumer friendly. It's very easy to use. It crosses over. Anastasia has very sensitive eyes, and we've been able to use it on her and everyone in our office, so it's been tested, tried and true.
I think what this sounds like it'd be fun because, I always go, the first ones I always play with are when I was at your place is I dip right into the gold and the silver because I want to see that liquid. It looks like liquid metal.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like that would be fun to mix together and do some like winged eyeliner.
You could do winged eyeliner, you could do creative looks. It's a lot of fun.
Yay.
Well, it was fun with you because you picked out the 2 shades that we had started with also, which I found just interesting. She went straight to the gold, straight to the silver, and went like that and was like, are you kidding me? And then I said, yeah, with the medium on top of that, it's even more amplified.
I haven't even played with the medium yet. I was just rubbing everything on my hand and then I was playing with the brush swatches. I was like, this is so fun. So when is this launching? Because I know it's already for pre-sale, but when are they supposed to be shipping?
We actually, we have good news for everyone because it's actually going to ship a little earlier than expected. We thought it was going to be October 1st, but we will actually begin shipping middle of this week.
Oh, nice. And this is just like this one that you have numbers.
Yes, we numbered. Yep, we're still numbering, but 1 through 3,000.
I know, you're brave soul.
I've been numbering. So we're numbering 1 through 3,000, and we're launching this for Viseart as these are the collector's palettes.
Okay, excellent. And if you are a pro, you do get a pro discount, right?
Yes, for those who have been approved and they have a pro membership with our company, they get the pro membership.
Excellent. And something that you guys do, if you're not a pro, you can do the PayPal 6 months.
Yes.
No financing as long as they, no financing as long as they pay it off in 6 months.
Right.
Yeah,
Something like that.
Because I've used that.
Go for PayPal.
It's less guilty about
really
it.
helpful.
It's good.
I know we covered it in the last video where we talked about this being a limited edition, but you were going to see how well it was received because it was so expensive to make and you didn't want to tie up so many of your funds producing these, but this is now a permanent fixture, correct?
Yes, this is part of our core series, and the original that we did was built in this kind of packaging, which is collector's series. And now this one, sorry, I'll try not to drop everything. It's coming in our traditional
just like
theory packaging, except for as a Grand Pro. So there you have it. We're very excited about that. Oh my God. I cannot
Don't break it. Everyone go home.
All good.
Anastasia broke it. And so what's the difference then between these two? Now
the packaging is different, and this will be a collector's item as well. We're not sure if we're going to make a second set or make it core. We'll wait and see how everybody feels about it. We are a small company. We have to take care of our resources very carefully. So we'll just see how it goes and see how you all love it. We're really excited.
Okay, excellent. And, Alphonse also demoed on myself, which we will get to after this part, and Anastasia, so you can see a more intense look and then a more natural wearable look, in case you don't want to go like I like full foil I want to glow. I want to glow.
Exactly, you
Like,
wanna glow.
see from space.
We call it galactic.
Yeah, I like that.
She likes
That sounds better.
I like the galactic.
I know, like,
Yes.
you sound like an astronaut or something.
Okay, so what we have on Steph, we have where we're going with the eye look, working with the new Grande Pro Volume 2. And on this eye here, we have her classic everyday matte neutral face. With the Grande Pro 2, you'll find that it's 6 formulas of beautiful metallics and textures that give you some diversity and color play. So what we're going to do first is we're going to work with a beautiful rust bronze tone that is of the prismatic metallic formula. Now what you'll find here, as this shade, we're going to use to contour at the outer eye. This shade here is more of a medium coverage pigment and has a beautiful reflectivity with all of these little prisms of light. The second step, to really bring a little more of a dramatic focus on the center of the eye, I went into the chromatic foils. Now these are amazing, they're like liquid metals. I'm gonna work with the W21, it's a little sable hair brush, and we're gonna dampen it with the ESUM Pro Mixing Medium. And dampen is the word. Then I'm gonna lightly sweep right over the shade, and we're gonna come right back and we're just gonna pat the color right in the center. And as you can see, that payoff is just beautiful. The chromes have full coverage and maximum impact. And Steph never shies away from maximum impact.
Never. The shimmer, the better.
More shimmer, more better. Exactly. So you can see here how you start getting more dimension by a little bit of the depth and a little bit of the lightness in the center. Now we're going to add a little bit of an inner highlight working with the Celestial Duochromes. The Celestial Duochromes are beautiful because it is a sheer formula that uses a duochromed pigment. And what that means is that the color will look one way when you look to the left, and it'll look a second way when you look to the right. It kind of has a little bit of a switch of color. This is a beautiful, almost of a peachy gold tone that has a little bit of green in it. And we're going to use that just through the inner part. And then I switched to a soft hair brush. This is the G27. And to match the two, to amplify the color, add a little more color play. Just stunning. Great. Now for under the eye, we're going to go back to the same prismatic metallic, this rust shade that we use in the outer corner. Look up for me. And we're just going to sweep it gently under the lash line. And this is all used dry. The formulas can be used wet or dry. So if you're going to use a medium transformer, that's going to amplify. But if you use them dry, you get beautiful wearable color that's rich, just beautiful. And then we'll pick up a little bit more of the duochrome and just to highlight the inner part of the eye. And it's as easy as that. Now we're going to take a little break, and Steph is going to put her lashes on.
Yeah, I can't live without those.
So on Anastasia, we wanted to create a little bit more of a classic style of makeup. So we started by working with the Luxe Metallic. It's a deep emerald green. And we're using it in its dry state, working at the outer corner of the eye. Kind of close me. So we're going to start by just working in the outer corner, press onto the lid. Now we started with the cool mattes on Anastasia to give her base color and base dimension. So just apply this at the outer corner, and then moving into the center of the eye. Look down for me. With a little bit of the crystalline highlighter that has a little bit more of a sheer base, just to give a little bit of that beautiful reflectivity and translucency. The next step, I went into this duochrome that has a little bit of a yellow and green hue, with a little dance of blue. As you can probably just see that, how that just applied. And that's beautiful. Right on that inner lid. Look at that. It's gorgeous. That did sound like pretty little trees. Look up for me. We're going to follow under the eye with a little bit of the deep emerald green. Look all the way up for me. Just right along the base of the lash line. Working with the textured pigments on an eye that has a few years of life and laughter. That's a nice way of putting it. It's all about where you place the color. Look down for me. So the more reflective shades, as you can see, I kept more to the center of the lid, whereas the softer metallics are at the outer corner to create depth and dimension. So the final step, I'm working with one of the chromatic pigments. It's a beautiful chartreuse shade. And working with it dry, just as a little bit of the inner contour. And it just brings a little bit of light and a little bit of play. And from here, we're going to touch up mascara, and then you'll come back to the finished look. All right, so what we have here are two different looks. One that we did on Anastasia that definitely is a lot more classic, a lot more wearable, a very easy look. And then on Steph, where she likes full impact, we did something a little bit more bronzy and smoky with the chromatic in gold.
So thanks so much for tuning in, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.